When I realized that I was just the fallen school beauty who smoked, skipped classes and had an abortion in the novel about the pain of youth, I was being kissed by Xue Nanyu in the men's toilet cubicle. He kissed me urgently and fiercely, his hand went into my neck. And he even tore off 2 buttons of my school uniform on my chest. Just because Lin Xiaxia rejected his confession today, she confided in him that the person she really liked was actually their class monitor Jiang Sen. Xue Nanyu was handsome and wild, and he had dated almost all the beautiful girls in one middle school. For the first time, he fell into the hands of this timid and simple little white rabbit. He had a fire in his heart that he had nowhere to vent. After class, he pulled me into the men's toilet and couldn't wait to kiss me. In my previous life, I lost my virginity in this cramped and dirty place, later, because of an accidental pregnancy. I lost my life due to heavy bleeding when having an abortion in a small clinic. Thinking of this, I raised my knees and hit him between his legs. The lustful boy screamed in pain. Su Tang, what are you doing? I glared at him, very dirty. Xue Nanyu barely glanced at the surrounding environment and said impatiently, TSK, trouble, let's change places next time. Xue Nanyu, I mean, you are very dirty. I wiped my lips that he kissed with the back of my hand in disgust. Then I kicked the door of the men's toilet and walked out, not wanting to stay with him for even a second. Xue Nanyu widened his eyes in disbelief. Su Tang, what are you pretending? Wasn't it you who said that I kissed very comfortably just now? Why? I asked you to hook up with Jiang Sen. And you are addicted to acting. Shinjin, I hurried back to the classroom to rinse my mouth and didn't bother to pay attention to him at all. It was evening self-study at this time, when I saw me come in. My classmates looked at me frequently. I sat back in my seat uncomfortably, seeing that the seat next to me was still empty. I asked Qi Weilong behind me, where is Jiang Sen? He was called away by the dean. Why did you call him? Qi Weilong's eyes widened. Have you lost your memory? The monthly exam results are out. Jiang Sen fell back by more than 400 places this time, of course. He was called in for a lecture. What? Memories of my previous life flooded into my mind. On the day of the monthly exam, I fainted due to hypoglycemia and was sent to the infirmary by the teacher. When I woke up in a daze, I saw Jiang Sen sitting upright next to me. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be taking the exam at this time? I handed in a blank paper. Jiang Sen's voice was calm. As if he was explaining something unimportant, he leaned over to tuck the quilt for me and asked, are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere else? Dizzy? I deliberately made things difficult for him. Jiang Sen, I want to eat candy now, snow pear and osmanthus candy, from the one in the north of the city. Okay, he didn't hesitate and got up to buy it. Later, the monthly exam results were announced. Because he scored 0 in the comprehensive science exam, he fell from the top of the grade for the first time and fell outside the top 400. He was also punished by the Discipline Inspection Commission for violating school rules by climbing over the wall to leave the school. I thought viciously at that time, it's great, the university bully fell into the dust. The teacher who liked him the most also began to hate him. Xue Nanyu would definitely be happy. And now, Dean, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I rushed into the office breathlessly and bowed to the Dean of Teaching. It was me who didn't let Jiang Sen take the exam, and it was me who asked him to jump over the wall to buy me something. He is a good student who abides by the rules, and it was me who threatened him, saying that if he didn't listen to me, I would let the gangsters outside the school teach him a lesson. I'm sorry, Dean, if there is any punishment, just put it on my name. He will take the entrance exam for Tsinghua University in the future, and there can't be a stain in his file. I was originally a bad student with a very bad reputation in the school, and it was not uncommon for him to do bad things. The Dean of Teaching did not suspect anything. So he asked Jiang Sen to go back to the classroom first, and then scolded me severely. He said that Jiang Sen was a super genius that was rare in the school's 100 years of establishment, and he was the glory and hope of the school, and his future was limitless. Let a bad person like me stay away from him. Don't be a stumbling block on his bright future. I nodded sincerely in agreement. The bad consequences of not doing this. I knew it in my previous life. I walked out of the office door. Jiang Sen's cold voice came from behind. Why lie for me? I looked back at him. It turned out that he had not left, and had been waiting for me here. The summer breeze poured into the corridor, blowing up the broken hair on his forehead. The familiar eyes, like the deep lake surface in the autumn night, were incongruously stained with starlight. I seemed to remember my previous life. Xue Nanyu and I accidentally got pregnant, and the school and parents knew about it at that time. We had just turned 19, and we were panicked and didn't know what to do. The head teacher and my parents asked me who the father of the child was. I lied that the child was Jiang Sen's. Xue Nanyu hated Jiang Sen, so I hated Jiang Sen too. It shouldn't be a problem to let him take the blame. I comforted myself in this way. The head teacher naturally refused to believe my lies. He firmly believed in Jiang Sen's character and accused me of lying. After all, I had many criminal records and my moral character was worrying. I was a real bad student. But when he really brought Jiang Sen to confront, Jiang Sen just looked at me quietly and said softly, Su Tang didn't lie, he's mine. I turned away with a guilty conscience. But what greeted Jiang Sen was the abuse and punches from my parents. The head teacher looked ashen and left in anger. Jiang Sen was punished twice. And the school gave the admission quota that should have been given to him to the second place. And on the day of the college entrance examination, I died on the operating table. He handed in a blank paper like the monthly exam. I'm sorry, Jiang-sin, I'm really sorry. Emotion surged in my heart. And my nose was blocked and sour. I apologized to him from the bottom of my heart. Jiang-sin frowned and walked over. What did the dean say to you? I forced back my tears. He asked me to stay away from you and stop pestering you. Did you agree? I nodded. I once dragged Jiang-sin into hell with my own hands. He lost his reputation, missed the college entrance examination, and his future was ruined. But now, everything is in time. As long as I draw a clear line with him, stay away from him, and stop harming him, it's in time. Jiang-sin's eyes sank, and his fingers loosened and curled. Su Tang, when did you listen to the teacher so much? I'm doing this for your own good, you will know later. I didn't answer much, and rushed back to the classroom to pack up and moved back to the corner of the back row. When Jiang-sin came back, he saw that my desk was empty. He pursed his lips and said nothing, doing exercises and reading books as usual. Seeing this, Lin Xiaxia walked over with the exercise book in her hand, and said softly, class monitor. I don't know how to do a physics problem, can you teach me? After that, she was about to sit next to him, who knew that as soon as she took a step forward, Jiang-sin's hand pressed on the stool where I was originally sitting. With a retraction of the forearm, the stool was moved far away. Tomorrow. I still have papers to finish. Lin Xiaxia almost sat empty-handed, thinking that he was in a bad mood because he was scolded, so she kindly comforted him. Class monitor, don't be sad. I know you are capable, and you will definitely get the first place in the grade in the next monthly exam, as long as you don't always get involved with those poor students. Lin Xiaxia, Jiang-sin interrupted her. You are the discipline committee member. You are still talking during evening self-study. Is it in line with class rules? Lin Xiaxia's eyes quickly filled with mist, and she said timidly, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Then she returned to her seat and lay on the table and sobbed softly. I was distracted by the backs of these two people. Lin Xiaxia is beautiful and well-behaved, with excellent grades. Only such an excellent girl can keep pace with Jiang-sin and lead him to the right path. It's a pity that this nerd doesn't know how to be sympathetic to women. It seems that I have to help him personally when necessary. At this time, the phone rang, and Jiang-sin sent a WeChat message. The room is ready. Rose Crystal A508, remember to buy the morning after pills? I don't like wearing that stuff. I laughed in anger. No wonder he didn't come to the evening self-study class. This idiot didn't think I was playing some kind of lustful game with him, did he? Just keep your toothpick for your own use. I quickly typed a string of words and put him on the blacklist without hesitation. In my previous life, I liked someone like this, which was simply mentally damaged. The next day, I dyed my long pink hair back to black. I shortened my school uniform skirt and couldn't restore it, and I didn't know where I threw my school uniform jacket. I can only wait until next Monday to go to the school general affairs office to buy a new one. On the way to school, I happened to meet Chi Weilong, who lived in the same community, and called him over. Chi Weilong looked back for a long time before fixing his eyes on me. His mouth opened as if he could swallow an egg. And then he uttered a Chinese quintessence, fuck, Sister Tang, why did you dye your hair black? I walked up to him. Does it look weird? Chi Weilong's face flushed, and he scratched the back of his head and said, that's not the case, it just looks a little pure. No, I'm a little uncomfortable. I ignored him and took off his school uniform jacket. Lend it to me for 2 days, and I'll return it to you in 2 days. After saying that, I put the jacket on myself. Chi Weilong's face became even redder. Sister Tang, you look like you're not wearing anything underneath. Chi Weilong is tall, and his jacket just covers my short skirt. After buttoning it up, you can only see 2 exposed, thin white legs under the wide school uniform jacket. I simply took off my jacket and tied it around my waist. How about this? This is much better. Chi Weilong and I walked side by side to school. He asked. Nanga has an appointment with the people from the vocational school next door to fight tonight. What time are you going? I'm not going. The fight started because someone from the vocational school whistled at Lin Xiaxia, and Xuan Nanyu was so angry that he issued a challenge. In the last life, I was worried that Xuan Nanyu would suffer a loss in a fight with someone from the vocational school, so I skipped the evening self-study class to help him. Who knew that he would leave me there to protect Lin Xiaxia? If Jiang-sin hadn't arrived later, I don't know what terrible things would happen to me. Only a fool would do such a thankless stupid thing again. Then what are you doing? Chi Weilong asked curiously. Doing homework. Doing homework. Did I hear it right? Su Tang is not sticking to Nangu anymore. He is going to be a good student and do homework. A burst of sarcastic laughter suddenly came from behind. Chi Weilong and I both turned around. I saw Xuan Nanyu and his little follower Su Rui riding a motorcycle and stopped behind us. Su Rui continued to laugh. Brother Nan, look, Su Tang dyed his hair black. Is he trying to imitate Lin Xiaxia? Xuan Nanyu had dark circles under his eyes, and it seemed that he didn't sleep well. He fixed his eyes on me and said unhappily, what did you do last night? Don't you know I waited for you all night? What did you do last night? What's your business? You waited for me all night. what's your business? Damn, I was annoyed when I got up early. I rolled my eyes and walked away. Su Tang. Xuan Nanyu called my name with anger. Su Rui patted Xuan Nanyu on the shoulder. Brother Nan, can't you see? Su Tang did it on purpose. She knows that you like Lin Xiaxia, so she imitates Lin Xiaxia to attract your attention. Look, Lin Xiaxia has black hair, so she dyed it black. Lin Xiaxia usually ignores you, so she imitates her to ignore you. Lin Xiaxia likes that Jiang Xin, so she deliberately gets close to Qi Weilong. She probably thought that if she imitates Lin Xiaxia, you will like her. Su Rui shook his head in understanding. Women, you still can't give her face too much. Leave her alone for a few days, and she will come back and beg you to talk to her. Xuan Nanyu's face looked much better. She has so many little thoughts. He sneered again. She also wants to imitate Xiaxia, aping others. After that, he turned the handlebars, and with a boom, he drove the motorcycle away. The news that Xuan Nanyu was going to fight with the vocational school next door quickly spread throughout the class. A girl said to Lin Xiaxia, Xiaxia, you have to be careful. Xuan Nanyu fought with others for you. Some people are jealous. After that, the two looked at me. I was doing my homework with my head down. I was still muttering. Your magnesium took away my zinc. Mg plus CnSO4 equals MgSO4 plus Cn. The girl said, look. You are pretending to study, but you are actually thinking about confessing to Xuan Nanyu. Lin Xiaxia glanced in the direction of Jiang Xin again. Jiang Xin also looked at me sideways, but turned back after just one glance. His eyes were deep and I didn't know what he meant. Lin Xiaxia bit her lip and said loudly, it has nothing to do with me who Xuan Nanyu fights with. Don't associate me with him. The girl shut up. I studied hard for a day. I took notes for half a book, but there was too much knowledge left, which made me dizzy. So after the last class in the afternoon, I went to the rooftop to memorize words, but I fell asleep while memorizing. When I woke up, it was dark. When I went back to the classroom for evening self-study, Lin Xiaxia and Jiang Xin were gone. I had a bad feeling and asked Qi Weilong, where are they? Oh, Lin Xiaxia and Nan Ge left together. I'm asking about Jiang Xin. Jiang Xin, I don't know, when did you care about him so much? But it seems that after Nan Ge and Lin Xiaxia left, I didn't see him. Damn it. I quickly threw away the English dictionary in my hand and ran out. When I rushed to a deserted bungalow area based on my memory, the two sides were already fighting fiercely. I stood outside the crowd, anxiously searching for Jiang Xin's figure. When Su Rui saw me, he smiled with a bruised mouth. Brother Nan, look who's here. I told you that if you're fighting here, how can Su Tang continue to study? Xuan Nanyu looked at me and sneered, Su Tang, don't always stick to me, I don't have time to protect you right now. After that, he punched a boy who wanted to pull Lin Xiaxia. Who knew that the boy who weighed about 200 pounds on the opposite side didn't move at all, but instead pulled Xuan Nanyu's collar and lifted him up? Lin Xiaxia screamed in shock. At this time, I found Jiang Xin who was fighting with someone not far away, so I ran towards him through the crowd. Just when I ran to Xuan Nanyu's side, Xuan Nanyu said with his neck stiff, Su Tang, you don't need me. Before he finished speaking, I passed by him and hugged Jiang Xin from behind. Jiang Xin, be careful. The fist that hit Jiang Xin was about to fall. He quickly turned around and protected me in his arms, and kicked the man. Xuan Nanyu's words were still in his mouth, his eyes full of disbelief. While he was stunned, the 200-pound boy had thrown him heavily to the ground. He screamed in pain. I said, Jiang Xin, run. Jiang Xin understood, took my hand and ran away. The people behind were chasing him relentlessly. Jiang Xin and I ran into the alley. There was a hidden corner in the branch road. We hid in it, but the corner was so narrow that we could barely stand with our bodies pressed together. Even if I just nodded, I might kiss Jiang Xin's chin. Jiang Xin's breathing drifted into my ears. Itchy and abrupt in this tense and quiet moment, I gritted my teeth and said, can you breathe less loudly? Jiang Xin suddenly laughed. Su Tang, you are pressing against me. I lowered my head and pressed my chest against him. My face turned red. I couldn't help but think of my setting in this book. A simple-minded D-cup school beauty. Shut up. It was a long time before there was no more footsteps outside. Jiang Xin and I walked out of the alley. Jiang Xin said, are you hurt? I shook my head and then scolded him. Are you stupid? People are fighting for Lin Xiaxia's favor. Why are you joining in the fun? Aren't you also doing this for Xuan Nan? And I'm too lazy to get involved in their business. I fell asleep while reciting English words on the rooftop. Did you think I came to help Xuan Nan fight? I reached out and pinched Jiang Xin's chin, looked around, and fortunately there was only one wound. Silly, don't you think about it? What if you, a good student, are punished? Jiang Xin obediently let me rub him, but his eyes were always fixed on me. Su Tang, are you concerned about me? Nonsense, you are a good student with a bright future and unlimited prospects. How can you be the same as us? Jiang Xin pursed his lips and said nothing, letting me drag him to the pharmacy. I bought anti-inflammatory medicine and cotton swabs, and carefully applied medicine to him, afraid that he would be in pain. I also moved close to his face and gently wiped his wound. The moment he stood up, Jiang Xin, who had been silent all the time, suddenly called my name, Su Tang. You don't like good students, so I won't be a good student, okay? Jiangsun sat on the steps of the pharmacy and looked up at me seriously. You dare? I was surprised that he had such an idea. It's so good to be a good student, teachers, and classmates like you. And you can get into a good university in the future. Find a good job, and make a lot of money. But you think I'm boring? Jiangsun interrupted me, and his thick eyelashes like crow feathers drooped. Even being my deskmate is unbearable. I couldn't explain to Jiangsun that I was reborn. I couldn't tell him how badly I hurt him in his last life. I just warned him to study hard and not to let his imagination run wild, and then walked towards the school without saying a word. He followed behind me, not in a hurry, keeping a safe distance. When passing a small park, suddenly, there was a painful inhalation from inside. When I turned my head, it turned out to be Xuan Nanyu. He sat against a big tree, his whole body covered with bruises and blood. Even one of his shoes was lost. Lin Xiaxia had long disappeared, without my delay this time. The unruly one middle school bully was beaten into such a state. Seeing me coming, Xuan Nanyu's eyes lit up. Su Tang, you came to find me, and complained dissatisfiedly. Why are you so slow? I stood still. Jiangsun then walked to my side. Xuan Nanyu's eyes swept back and forth between the two of us, and his face suddenly darkened. Have you been with him? Yes. You, forget it. Come and help me first. I crossed my arms, raised my chin, and admired his miserable appearance from a high position. There was no movement for a long time. At this time, Xuan Nanyu vaguely realized that I didn't seem to plan to care about him. He looked unhappy. Su Tang, don't play too much. Come here now. I won't hold you responsible for what happened in the past 2 days, otherwise, you will not be able to end this. And what? Are you going to punish me? Are you going to dump me and ignore me in the future? Or are you going to pursue Lin Xiaxia or other girls wholeheartedly? I smiled. Xuan Nanyu. I couldn't ask for more. Xuan Nanyu frowned. Su Tang, it's boring to act too much. I shrugged and said to Jiangsun, look, rotten people are suitable to rot in the ground. It's unnecessary to save him. Let's go. After that, I took Jiangsun's hand and raised my leg to leave. Su Tang, the boy behind me punched the ground and made a final threat. If you leave now, don't cry and beg me to pay attention to you in the future. I never looked back. Xuan Nanyu was hospitalized. Su Rui's injury was not serious, so he came back to school soon and organized his classmates to buy flowers and fruit baskets, ready to go to see him together. Seeing me sitting indifferently and reading a book, so he sat on my desk and said in a rude manner, Su Tang, do you want to give me a chance to show off? No. Su Rui frowned. I haven't even said what it is yet. If you want to tell me about Xuan Nanyu, save your words. I have no interest in listening. Su Rui looked incredulous. Su Tang, Nan is injured and hospitalized now, but he needs someone to care for him. If you take advantage of this opportunity, maybe why should I take advantage of this opportunity? He didn't get injured for me. Oh, you're jealous. Su Rui looked as if he had suddenly realized something. That's right. You can't compare with Lin Xiaxia, but you can lick better than her. Maybe if you lick for a long time, Nan will be moved. Get lost. I kicked him off the table. If you keep talking in front of me, also your mouth shut. Xuan Nanyu has many brothers, and when they see me, they all respectfully call me a sister Tang. Even more than half of the people are advocating me to be a real sister-in-law. Only Su Rui, every time he sees me, either sneers or sarcastically. It's as if I dug up his family's grave. You don't know what's good for you. Su Rui covered his buttocks and grimaced in pain. He was asking for trouble with me, and wanted to find Lin Xiaxia, but he couldn't find her after turning around for a few times. The class was in a mess. I took the physics textbook and went out, ready to find a quiet place to read. Who knew that I saw Jiangsun and Lin Xiaxia in the abandoned activity room? I quickly hid aside. Lin Xiaxia said softly to Jiangsun, Jiangsun, were you hurt yesterday? I've been worried about you, but I couldn't contact you. Jiangsun, I'm fine. You asked me to tell you this. Lin Xiaxia grabbed the hem of her skirt and took a deep breath. It seemed that she mustered up a lot of courage before she said, I hate Xuan Nanyu and Su Tang and their gang. They are violent, brainless, and have a lot of bad habits. If you get involved with them, nothing good will happen. Jiangsun, we are different from them. We must stay away from them. So that, Lin Xiaxia, Jiangsun put one hand in his pocket. His skin was porcelain white. Close to being sick, and his eyes were black under his old glasses. It was as silent as a pool of water. If you hate Xuan Nanyu, just stay away from him, and you don't have to report to me. But if you want to persuade me to stay away from Su Tang, I'm sorry, I don't plan to do that. After he finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. Lin Xiaxia quickly blocked his way. His eyes were slightly red, and he was as stubborn as a little rabbit. Yes. I admit that Su Tang is very interesting. When everyone is studying hard and looking dirty, she is beautiful and different. The school requires that hair dyeing is not allowed, but she dyes it into a dazzling pink. The school requires proper dress, but she shortens her skirt. She wears makeup, smokes, skips classes, fights, and swears, and is still the focus of discussion among boys in the school. But Jiangsun, you are not the same kind of people as her. She enjoys playing tricks on others. and she is happiest when she sees you being fooled around. Last time your grades dropped, and this time you are fighting in a group. Sooner or later, she will drag you down, Lin Xiexia said earnestly. Jiang Sen, I am helping you, correcting you to get on the right path. Are you done? Jiang Sen finally showed an impatient look. Do you like me? Do you think you and I are the same kind of people? He took long steps and approached Lin Xiexia step by step. You know me well, because I study well. I explained 2 questions to you, and I almost always respond to requests from other classmates in the class. I am valued and liked by the teacher, so you think I am a good student. Lin Xiexia leaned against the wall with her back, unable to retreat. She bit her lip, her voice trembling. Isn't it? Jiang Sen pulled the corner of his lips, his long arm passed over Lin Xiaxia's ear, and with a bang, he hit the wall behind her. She shrank in fear. There are 5,276 photos of Su Tang in my phone. Every night, I have to look at those photos before I can fall asleep. She put the remaining fabric from cutting skirts under my pillow. I don't know how many times she kissed and caressed it. She said my fingers are beautiful. I really want to make a specimen and give it to her. I am crazier than Xuananyu. I am a good student just because I am afraid of scaring her. Lin Xiexia, now, do you still dare to say you like me? Lin Xiexia covered her mouth, and her whole body was shaking with fear, and her face was wet with tears. Finally, she pushed Jiang Sen away and ran out. I was stunned and stood there, but I looked at the person opposite me. Jiang Sen said, have you eavesdropped enough? I couldn't help but take 2 steps back. And Jiang Sen walked straight to me. The bad side of the good student was exposed. The bright and sunny university god turned out to be a hidden lunatic. His fingers hanging by his side were slightly curled up, and blue veins were faintly protruding on the porcelain white back of his hand, suppressing panic. Are you afraid of me? As soon as I said this, I calmed down. I have seen Jiang Sen in 2 lifetimes, how gentle and restrained he is, and how kind he is to me. I know it best. No. I shook my head quickly. I won't be afraid of you no matter what you look like. After thinking for a while, he said, Jiang Sen, I still like the way you looked when you were studying the most. You are confident and dazzling. I still want to be your deskmate. Can you take me to Tsinghua University? Jiang Sen looked at me in surprise. Su Tang, you have to keep your word, of course. I took the initiative to reach out and hook Jiang Sen's little finger. A liar is a puppy. When licking, I moved back to my original position and became Jiang Sen's deskmate again, I thought. Since even a good student like Lin Xiaxia with excellent grades can't win Jiang Sen's heart and lead him back to the right path, let me, the instigator of the evil, do this. Last time, I made him not even have time to take the college entrance examination. This time, I want to see Jiang Sen get into the best university with my own eyes, watch him shine, have a successful career, and live a happy life. If he wants, I will accompany him. If he gets tired of me, I will take the initiative to leave. In this life, it is my turn to keep him. I began to devote all my time to studying and urging Jiang Sen to study. Jiang Sen explained the questions for me. He is smart, and even the most difficult questions can become simple with his explanation. With his help, I can even calculate a few fill-in-the-blank questions independently. I also got 63 points in the math test. Jiang Sen bought me osmanthus candy from Chengbei to encourage me. I lay on the table weekly, 150 points. I got 63 points. I had said shamelessly before that I wanted to go to Tsinghua University, but Jiang Sen didn't laugh. Jiang Sen patted my back and comforted me. Don't worry, take your time. Sometimes I was really tired of doing the questions and the urge to smoke was too uncomfortable, so I started to go crazy. Jiang Sen let me do it. Are you feeling uncomfortable? Do you want to eat some candy to relieve the pressure? He always noticed my abnormality at the first time. I showed my 2 fangs, ferociously. The candy is too greasy. I want to bite people. Jiang Sen actually unbuttoned his coat, exposed his arm and handed it to my mouth. Bite it. Seeing that I didn't move for a long time, he handed over the other arm. Or this one, you said it. I grabbed his arm and left a tooth mark on his forearm. Jiang Sen didn't even frown. I suspected that he was a wooden man and didn't feel pain. Jiang Sen, you secretly looked at me more than 10 times during class today. You didn't study seriously. Biting you is a punishment. If you don't get back to the first place in this monthly exam, I'll see how I deal with you. Jiang Sen chuckled. Don't worry, looking at you won't affect my admission to Tsinghua University. I pouted. You'd better. When the monthly exam was approaching, Xuananyu was discharged from the hospital. I haven't seen him for more than half a month. He has lost a lot of weight. There is a scar on his left eyebrow that is long to the end of his eye. The scar is not shallow and should be difficult to repair, although it is not disfigured. Xuananyu has always been narcissistic about his appearance, which is enough to make him uncomfortable for a while. Also, maybe because Lin Xiaxia abandoned him in the last fight, when he came back. His attitude towards Lin Xiaxia was also much colder. Once the two met face to face, Lin Xiaxia finally mustered up the courage to say, Xuananyu, I will take the entrance exam to Tsinghua University in the future. If you fight for me and hurt yourself, I will only think it is childish and will not be touched. I will never like someone like you. Xuananyu did not react much after hearing this. He just said, I know, and passed by her, and I kept pestering Jiang Sen to study. Even when I went to the cafeteria to eat, I would chase him to ask questions I didn't understand in class. I tied my hair into a ponytail and wore a school uniform skirt that was over my knees. No more skipping classes, no more fighting, no more smoking. No more wasting my youth with Xuan Nanyu and his group of people who just wanted to get by. One weekend, Jiangxin and I made an appointment to do homework at a fast food restaurant. It happened that Xuan Nanyu and his group of brothers came here to order food. They must have just smoked outside, and the smell of mint mixed with nicotine spread. Jiangxin saw my discomfort and naturally rolled up his sleeves, revealing a part of his forearm. I didn't bring any candy. Bite me if you feel uncomfortable. I couldn't help but laugh and complained. They stink. I sniffed closer to his neck. Jiangxin, you smell better. Jiangxin's body was very straight, and the tip of his ear unconsciously turned red. Pretending to be serious, he said, do your homework well. Yes. Class monitor, Su Rui, who had just received the meal, saw this scene and couldn't help but complain to Xuan Nanyu. How long will Su Tang continue to act? Why do I feel that she doesn't act now? As if she really likes Jiangxin. Xuan Nanyu looked ugly and turned to the door to smoke, but the lighter didn't catch fire after several attempts. Su Rui shouted from behind, Brother Nan, don't you want to eat? Xuan Nanyu became more and more irritated. No, I'm sick of it. The next day after school, Xuan Nanyu stopped me at the school gate. For the first time, he rode a motorcycle, and the scar on his brow added a bit of hostility. He was as arrogant as ever. He glanced at me and said, you haven't taken the initiative to look for me for so long, and you haven't said a word to me? Su Tang, you are very patient. I was puzzled, tolerating chicken feathers. I was busy taking the college entrance examination. How could I have time to pay attention to him? I was too lazy to talk nonsense and raised my legs to leave. I heard Xuan Nanyu sigh, as if he had let down his heavy defense, with a helpless tone that I had never had before. He said, okay, Su Tang, your goal has been achieved. I agree. I was even more confused. Agree to what? Haven't you always wanted to be my girlfriend? I agree. I was careless when I asked you to seduce Jiangxin before. I admit that when you rushed over to protect Jiangxin in the last fight, I was super upset. You don't have to care about him in the future. The game is over. From now on, you will be my only girlfriend. There will be no Lin Xiaxia, and no other girls. I was very upset. I did have other purposes when I first approached Jiangxin. At that time, I liked Xuan Nanyu very much, and I wanted to give my whole heart to him. He was also very annoyed because Lin Xiaxia liked Jiangxin, so he said to me, want to be my girlfriend? Okay, then go and seduce Jiangxin. If he falls in love with you, then I will date you. I believed it and turned around and became Jiangxin's deskmate, but that was in the past. Now, sorry, I don't really care about your girlfriend position now. Xuan Nanyu frowned. Su Tang, did you not understand what I said? I'm talking about a legitimate girlfriend. Will being your girlfriend give me extra points in the college entrance examination? Or being your girlfriend can get me into Tsinghua University. It was as if it was a great favor. My patience was exhausted, and Jiangxin happened to appear at this time. I waved to Jiangxin and said, wait for me, let's go home together. After saying that, I was about to leave, but Xuan Nanyu grabbed my arm. He almost gritted his teeth and said, Su Tang, I told you that the game is over. Why are you still paying attention to him, who is playing games with you? I was completely irritated. I liked you before, so I stuck to you, and now I like him, so I stick to him. Is this hard to understand? Xuan Nanyu, I will change my mind too. Who stipulates that I can only like you for the rest of my life? You? Xuan Nanyu's eyes were full of disbelief. He opened and closed his mouth several times, but in the end, he didn't say a word. At this time, Jiangxin came over. He looked at Xuan Nanyu indifferently, as if he was looking at an annoying cockroach. Su Tang, don't bother with the physics test. 3 points. People stay together. It is easy to spread stupidity. I quickly shook off Xuan Nanyu's hand, took out a tissue, and wiped the place that Xuan Nanyu touched with a gloomy face. I just passed the physics test, and I can't fall back. After doing all this, I took the initiative to hold Jiangxin's hand, and asked very seriously, then if I touch the university god's hand more, can I get a few more points? Jiangxin couldn't help but chuckle. Maybe. Xuan Nanyu's arm behind him fell, and his eyes fell on the hands of Jiangxin and me interlocked, sharp as if to chop people. The monthly exam is over. Jiangxin returned to the top of the city. I also moved up from the bottom 10 to more than 100. Everything is going as I hoped. The college entrance examination is approaching. Xuan Nanyu treated me well against his usual behavior. He treated me gently and patiently like he did to Lin Xiaxia, bring me breakfast, send me social media posts, and wait at the school gate at night to send me home. I ignored him once. He began to target Jiangxin intentionally or unintentionally. Even during a school basketball game, he teamed up with Su Rui to trip Jiangxin, even though Jiangxin was a skilled basketball player. He couldn't withstand the two of them working together. When Jiangxin jumped up to shoot, he deliberately jumped up and bumped into him. With a bang, Jiangxin and Xuan Nanyu fell heavily to the ground. I rushed into the court to stop the game, ran to Jiangxin and helped him up. Are you okay? Not bad. Jiangxin's calf was injured. I lifted his arm and wrapped it around my neck. Lean on me, hold me tight. I'll take you to the infirmary. Su Rui shouted from behind. Hey, Su Tang, Didn't you see that Brother Nan was also injured? In the corner of his eyes, Xue Nanyu was sitting on the ground, his arm hanging in a twisted posture, as if it was broken, and his eyes were fixed on me. I said angrily, "Tell him to die." There was an uproar in the room. I don't know who said, "Isn't Su Tang Xue Nanyu's dog?" She actually scolded him for Jiang Sen. Is she in love with Jiang Sen? Damn, Jiang Sen is a famous cold-blooded college bully in No. 1 middle school. How come he has come down to earth? Please, Su Tang looks like a fairy. Anyone who sees him will be confused. That's right. In fact, I also dreamed of Su Tang at night, and Xue Nanyu couldn't stand it anymore. Shut up. To the infirmary. I squatted on the ground to check Jiang Sen's wound. Fortunately, it was just a scratch. I was angry and scared. Fortunately, it wasn't the hand that was injured. Fortunately, it wasn't the hand that held the pen. Not the hand that would rewrite his future destiny. Otherwise, I would fight to the death with Xue Nanyu. Jiang Sen laughed after hearing it. What are you laughing at? You're still laughing when you're injured. Happy? I frowned. What's there to be happy about? Jiang Sen's eyes were fluorescent. You chose me. Between me and Xue Nanyu, you chose me. Didn't you see how Xue Nanyu looked just now? He looked as ugly as if he had swallowed 5 toads. I couldn't help but laugh too. If you're so easy to coax, then I'm afraid you'll be happy for the rest of your life. What? I stood up and leaned close to Jiang Sen's ear and said, because you will be my Su Tang's priority for the rest of my life. Jiang Sen's eyes moved slightly. You're lying. I answered quickly. It's a puppy. Xue Nanyu was hospitalized again, and I threw myself on Jiang Sen, like protecting a cub. I paid close attention to all the movements around Jiang Sen. Prevent Su Rui and others from getting close. Accidents, like the one in the basketball hall, I will never allow it to happen again. The time for the college entrance examination is getting closer and closer. I would prepare nutritious brain-boosting meals for Jiang Sen every day. And I would also pay attention to his health problems every day, fearing that he would get sick due to overheating or coldness, which would affect his exams. The news that Jiang Sen and I were in love gradually spread in No. 1 middle school. That day, Jiang Sen was called by the dean to be reprimanded. I was so nervous that I didn't even have a good dinner. Half an hour later, Jiang Sen came back with his pockets bulging. He took out a sandwich for me. My stomach growled at an inopportune time. I knew you would have wild thoughts. Didn't you eat well? I took the sandwich and asked, "What did the director want to see you for?" Jiang Sen said. Su Rui reported us for being in a premature relationship. The dean was afraid that you would affect my studies, so he told me not to sit at the same table with you and stay away from you in the future. This snitch. I slammed the table in anger, and then asked quickly, "What did you answer?" Me? Jiang Sen stretched out the ending tone and pinched my cheek with his hand. I'm not as conscienceless as someone. I remembered that I moved to the back corner before. And I felt guilty unconsciously. Does the director agree? He promised me that if he lets you move up 100 places in this baseline test, he won't change your seat. Really? I became excited and quickly opened the exercise book. Then I will study hard and live up to the good intentions of the university bully. Su Rui's report did not separate Jiang Sen and me. Instead, it aroused my fighting spirit. I studied even harder and forgot to eat and sleep. A week later, Xue Nanyu returned to school. Last time he hit Jiang Sen maliciously, but God bless, Jiang Sen only had a calf scratch. While he had a broken forearm, his right arm was in a cast, and he looked thinner. Su Rui went to the school gate to pick him up and went back to the class with him. He happened to meet me on the way. The three of us stood still, and Su Rui was the first to speak sarcastically. Su Tang, I thought your feelings for Brother Nan were so deep and firm, but now it seems that it's just SOSO. No wonder Brother Nan doesn't like you all the time. You can't even compare to a strand of Lin Xiaoxia's hair. I smiled lightly, ignored Xue Nanyu's gaze, and walked straight to Su Rui, the complaining spirit. I quietly captured his eyes. Su Rui, you like me, right? It was not a rhetorical question, but an affirmative sentence. Su Rui reacted greatly, and hurriedly took 2 steps back, as if I was some kind of virus plague, and he would die if he was infected. What are you talking about? Oh my god, Su Tang, you are so funny. How can I like you? Among all of Brother Nan's girlfriends, you are the one I can't stand the most. Yeah. I took over. Your Brother Nan has had so many girlfriends, even Lin Xiaoxia, who has never looked at him straight in the eye. You are always polite to her, but you never have a good face to me. I had a quarrel with Xue Nanyu, and you mocked me. Xue Nanyu chased other girls, and you ran over to annoy me at the first time. Xue Nanyu treated me a little bit better, and you turned around and said bad things about me in his ear. Su Rui, your behavior is just like the most mischievous boy in the class when he was a child, who would deliberately tease the girl he liked to attract her attention. You keep calling Brother Nan, but you are actually jealous to death when you see me sticking to him, right? Xue Nanyu's face suddenly changed, staring at Su Rui. Su Rui's face flushed red, and he shook his head hurriedly. No, I didn't. To Brother Nan, if you believe me, how could I? Xue Nanyu stretched out his hand and said, take out your phone. Su Rui covered his pocket tightly. Brother Nan, why are you looking at your phone? I really didn't. Xue Nanyu didn't say much nonsense, and directly snatched Su Rui's phone and opened it. Swipe to the contact page. I was his special attention, even the WeChat we added for almost 3 years but never chatted with was pinned to the top of his head. Surue's face was pale, he was like a thief living in the dark, maintaining a mean and poisonous image. Using the lowest means to covet his eldest brother's woman. Seeing Xue Nanyu hate Su Tang because of what he said, he was perverted and secretly happy. Xue Nanyu gritted his teeth. Surue, you are really awesome. You used to give me those bad tricks, you are deliberately trying to alienate me and Su Tang, right? I was wondering why Su Tang is getting less and less interested in me. It turns out that you are the one who did it. The phone broke into pieces, Xue Nanyu made a fatal move and punched Su Rui one by one. It's not enough to have one more Jiangxin, even the little brothers around him are coveting her. Su Tang, why do so many people like his Su Tang? Su Rui was beaten so hard that he couldn't get up, seeing my mocking eyes. I don't know where he got the courage from, and he punched Xue Nanyu in return, tearing his face. He said, yes, I like her, but I only dare to think in my heart, why do you bully her so blatantly? The two of them wrestled in a ball instantly, dog bites dog, so happy, but I didn't have the patience to continue watching. I still had half a chemistry paper to finish. This time, I have to move up 100 places. Xue Nanyu's fight with Su Rui soon alarmed the school and was punished. Jiangxin asked me, how do you know Su Rui likes you? I chewed osmanthus candy in my mouth. I don't know, I guessed it. I held my cheek and spun the ballpoint pen on my fingertips. He is just weird. I am so beautiful and cute. How could anyone really hate me? There must be something wrong when things are abnormal. Even if he doesn't like me, he can plant a seed of doubt in Xue Nanyu's heart. And the small group will fall apart sooner or later. Jiangxin was defeated by me, but he nodded in agreement. Yes, who would not like you? Our Su Tang is the most likable. After the baseline test, I successfully moved up 180 places and exceeded the task. I kept the position of the god of learning. Even the head teacher and the dean of teaching, who have always disliked me, praised me for the first time. He even used me as a positive example to tell the bad students who were just hanging around in school. Everything went as I expected. The day before the college entrance examination, Xue Nanyu, who had been persuaded to drop out of school, was waiting for me at the gate of my community. I didn't want to have too much contact with him, so I was ready to walk away. Xue Nanyu saw my intention and said directly, Su Tang, I'm actually very curious about one thing. If I send him the chat records of me asking you to seduce Jiangxin, what do you think his reaction will be? I turned my head and stared at him. Xue Nanyu put one hand in his pocket and looked at me self-deprecatingly. Finally, you are willing to stop, look at me carefully, and listen to me. I didn't say anything. I just walked up to him, swung my arm and hit him in the face. There was a poppy sound. Xue Nanyu's face was tilted away, and even the corner of his mouth was broken. He grinned in pain, with the tip of his tongue against his mouth, but he laughed. You haven't touched me for a long time. Are you sick? I cursed. Why do you always target Jiangxin? Xue Nanyu met my angry gaze. No reason. I just don't like him. Seeing you stay with him, care about him, and ignore me. I'm particularly upset. Who I care about is none of your business. I was speechless. Xue Nanyu, it's not that I didn't love you. But you threw my sincerity on the ground and trampled on it. Now I have changed my mind. I don't like you anymore, and I don't want to be around you anymore, but you are pestering me and doing shameless things. Is it fun to threaten me? Seeing that I was angry, Xue Nanyu hurried forward to grab my hand. Su Tang, I just want to start over with you. I want you to give me a chance, but you don't even want to see me, and you don't even want to talk to me. Do you know how uncomfortable I am? If it were before, I wouldn't have to say anything, just a look from me would make you feel so distressed. I impatiently shook his hand away. Xue Nanyu, it's too late. I've fallen in love with Jiangxin. Xue Nanyu's hand fell into the air, slowly vertically to the side, and clenched into a fist. Jealousy flashed in his eyes. I heard from Lin Xiaxia that Jiangxin has a mental illness. He usually pretends to be a normal person, but in fact, he is an emotionally unstable lunatic. If he knows our secret, will he go crazy? Can he take the exam normally tomorrow? I frowned. Su Tang, let's make a deal. I will keep this secret in my heart. I will never disturb him before the exam is over. And you, come back to me. I was silent, but Jiangxin appeared. Xue Nanyu sneered. I asked him to come. There must be a witness at such an important moment. Su Tang, this time I give you the right to choose. It's up to you to say it or not. The only trump card in his hand that can control me was finally revealed on the eve of the college entrance examination. Scumbag. I cursed. Su Tang, you look good even when you curse people. Xue Nanyu looked fascinated, and did not forget to remind him, he is walking towards us. You don't have much time to think about it. The person across the street was getting closer and closer. Xue Nanyu tapped his watch impatiently, and turned his head to Jiangxin deliberately, and said, Jiangxin. Su Tang has something to tell you. Jiangxin shifted his gaze to me. I exhaled. I couldn't avoid it. Jiangxin, I said. The corners of Xue Nanyu's mouth curled up slightly. After a round and round, what should be his is still his. Everything returned to the starting point. Nothing has changed. Jiangxin. Xue Nanyu looked at me expectantly. Can you? He shouted in his heart. Say it quickly. Will you be my boyfriend? Xue Nanyu's smile froze on his face, for a time. He suspected that he had heard it wrong. Su Tang, what are you talking about? I looked at Jiang Sen and said seriously, are you willing? No, no, this is not the way the plot develops. Xuan Nanyu stood between us. Tomorrow is the college entrance examination, he reminded. Su Tang, think it over before you speak. I looked meaningless. What's wrong with the college entrance examination? Xuan Nanyu was shocked. You don't care. How is it possible? You protect Jiang Sen like a hen protecting her chicks, and prevent Su Rui and I from getting close. Aren't you afraid that he will have an accident in the college entrance examination? What are you acting? I walked slowly to Jiang Sen, looking at him like an idiot. Brother, don't you know there is a word called recommendation? Xuan Nanyu was stunned. Recommendation, recommendation. I shook my head. No wonder he got 3 points in physics. He would drool even if he was cured. Xuan Nanyu was so excited that his eyes turned red. He simply ignored everything and said sternly, Jiang Sen, do you know why Su Tang sat next to you? It was my instruction. Do you know how much she likes me? I just said I hated you and asked her to seduce you, and she did it obediently. Her kindness to you is all acting. She doesn't care about you at all, fool. You are just a part of our play. He took out his mobile phone and showed the screenshots taken at that time. Look. I still have the evidence. Compared to Xuan Nanyu's excitement and sarcasm, Jiang Sen's expression was quite calm. He didn't even look at his phone, just said, I know, but, what's the problem? Xuan Nanyu stared. You don't mind, Jiang Sen, Su Tang is so cute. Which boy in the class doesn't want to be her desk mate? But she chose me, which means I am different in her heart. Xuan Nanyu, no, don't you understand? I mean she is calculating you, Jiang Sen, then why doesn't she calculate you? Is it because she doesn't like you, Xuan Nanyu? Are you fucking in love, Jiang Sen, who wouldn't be confused when meeting someone like Su Tang? Oh, Jiang Sen continued expressionlessly, someone is not in love, and now, his wife ran away. Xuan Nanyu was so angry that his face spasmed. You are sick? Hopeless? Xuan Nanyu left. Before leaving, he looked at me and said, Su Tang, I used to be unfaithful in my feelings. I liked many girls and hurt your heart, so this time I allow you to be absent for a while. When you get tired of Jiang Sen, come back to me. I will wait for you forever. I didn't answer. The college entrance examination passed quickly. Although Jiang Sen had already been recommended to Tsinghua University, he still took the college entrance examination. He became the top scorer in science in our province. Although I studied hard, I had fallen behind in my studies before, and I only had enough score to get into an ordinary second-tier university. Xuan Nanyu barely glanced at the surrounding environment and said impatiently, Tisk, please change places next time. Su Tang, long-distance relationships are the most challenging to human nature. You and Jiang Sen are destined to be from two different worlds. You didn't do well in the exam. Why don't you go to study abroad with me? Before I could answer, Jiang Sen snatched the phone away. Don't bother with me. Tsinghua and Peking University are vying for me. My only condition for admission is that I must bring my girlfriend. They all agreed. There was a long silence on the other side, and finally gritted his teeth and said, Is it great to be good at studying? Jiang Sen said, I don't know. Anyway, it's easy to find a girlfriend. The other side threw the phone with a pop. I didn't follow Jiang Sen to Tsinghua University in the end, but chose to repeat a year and was admitted to the journalism major of the university of my choice. I'm not that kind of material, so I won't grab the quota that should belong to others. 6 years later, the new research elite in Beijing married the most beautiful weather anchor, in front of the wedding poster at the entrance of the hotel. A man with a scar on his right eyebrow took a photo with the bride in the photo. End of the full text. Jiang Sen's Diary Theater. Su Tang dyed her hair pink and shortened her school uniform skirt. Her ankles were thin and white, and she wore a red rope bell. The boys in the class were all talking about her, and even the boys from the neighboring school came to see her. Really, it was hard to bear. Her bleached hair broke easily, and she liked to use the broken hair to scratch other people's noses, and then laughed. But she never teased me. Why? I looked boring. I really wanted her hair. Would it hurt her if I pulled it out directly? Su Tang got the last place in the exam, and was scolded and cried. I got the first place in the grade. And everyone started to pass my notes around. When it came to her, she drew a big turtle on it. I like to hear the sound of the bell on her ankle. I want it to keep ringing. Under me, keep ringing. Big turtle, so cute.